what? A lot of the things that people actually have to pay a city government, a local government, a state government, or the federal government for, a lot of people don't even know they're breaking the law on a regular basis. And then they find out that they owe the government hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And for the people in our community, in our district that are poor, a few $100 if you're middle class, or even $1,000 can be inconvenient and something that you get angry at the government for. But you take care of it. If you're surviving paycheck to paycheck, you're in trouble. And it could quite possibly lead you to go to jail because you just do not have the ability to pay. Now you have a criminal record and other things that come with that. So because of that system where the government actually extorts money from you through this manner, we're actually tyrannizing a segment of our population. And that law is supposed to be there to deter behavior, not to make criminals out of our citizens. And so that's the third thing I'm going for. And anyway, I rambled on about myself and about my views for here for the last 10 or 15 minutes, I believe. And so I'd like to take questions at this time because I'm sure you all have plenty of them.
Don't make me ask all the questions.
Murdoch would like to ask a question.
I'll do it. All right. You and I talked briefly, and we explained, and to sum up, what I was asking him about was the problem with our government printing money and the possible future of that. And I said, when that all breaks down, is what I wanted to ask him, is Congress where you really want to be?
Right. I would say yes, because no one is having this dialogue. At this point, even the better showing that I can have during this campaign, the stronger that message gets passed. Right now, one of the biggest issues that we have is our inflation rate. Inflation is a tax. So the printing of money is a tax. It makes it harder on you to pay your bills, it makes it harder for you to support your family, and it makes it easier for the government to go ahead and pay itself. Inflation is a tax. And when they print money to pay off their bills, that goes on the backs of the taxpayer. And that needs to stop. I would prefer to see a smaller inflation rate. I'd like to see us get to zero. Because that means that if you save $20 today, and we could get to zero, 20 years from now, that $20 is worth $20. If we don't do that, if we keep the system up right now, by that time, that dollar is worth a lot less. And it depends on how you see the inflation rate. You can argue it's less than $10 even, depending on how you see the inflation rate. But if you've seen the price of gas lately, what's going on? That's inflation. If you see the price of, that's them printing money. If you see the price of food lately, that's them printing money. It's making harder for the American citizen to survive. It's making it easier for the government to fund its phony baloney programs, most of which have no business being promoted. One of the things I'm supporting right now is Bob Marshall made a comment lately that's been on the news against Planned Parenthood. No matter how you feel about that, I'd like to go back to his original discussion about Planned Parenthood. As I'm a Libertarian, but I'm also a Catholic. So by the government taking my money from me forcibly, because I have a choice, right? I can decide not to pay my taxes, go to jail, and then my family suffers for it. Or I can decide to fight it in the legislature, or I can decide just to pay it and just morally just take the hit, which is of course what most of us do because we have families to take care of. But as a Catholic, to me, morally, it is horrible for me to be promoting and funding the destruction of a life. Depending on where you want to define it. I like to define it earlier than a lot of other politicians like to define it. Now, I don't want to legislate that. I don't want to be involved in that. But I can, because I don't want to legislate morality. I don't want to force morality down anybody through the legal system. But this legal system is forcing its morality onto me. And this legal system is forcing me to participate in something that religiously I would feel abhorrent about. And I have no choice, and I can't get away from that because of the taking of my money and the funding of this organization. So why is it considered the right of the government to take my money for something that I am morally completely against? And I think that there's enough agencies out there, if we're insolvent, and I do believe the government right now is insolvent, why are we funding programs that a lot of us might have moral issues with? And why aren't our politicians addressing that? And so instead of deciding that instead of cutting, they're always going to print the money. They're always going to put the burden on the taxpayer and never on the patronage system that is the government right now. Patronage system by what I mean by, of course, they'll never cut a program because they might lose the money and the support of those insiders inside the Beltway. So, and this is what the problem is. It's become a patronage system to try to get people elected. Instead of a system that is supposed to defend, this is the only role of the federal government, in my opinion. It is to protect the civil liberties, the natural rights, and of the population, and handle things that a small community or small organization might not be able to handle on its own. That is it. Period. The federal government is there to protect the rights and the pursuit of happiness of the individuals that make up the government, that make up the systemry of the government. It has no right to impose things that make it harder on the citizens that make up that society and are part of that government. And that's what it's doing right now.
I agree about flat tax.
I like the flat tax. I also like the fair tax. I think anything that can get rid of a department of the government while also maintaining its function is something that is beautiful. And if you can get a fair tax or a flat tax, you can get rid of the IRS.
Hey, I got an idea. This way everybody pay taxes. No matter what you do, whether you're drug dealer, prostitute, whatever.
Right.
Do away with all the income, your payroll taxes, all your taxes, and have one tax, a sales tax.
Right.
That way everybody pays when they buy something, and they'll say, well, you favoring the rich. Well, no, the rich buy more, so they're going to pay more.
Right, and you're talking more of a fair tax, I believe, right?
Well, I call it a fair tax. Just have one sales tax, and nobody can cheat it.
I actually like both tax systems, the fair tax and the flat tax. Neither one is a perfect system, but they're a lot better than the IRS system we have now.
No, anything's better than what we got now, yes sir. But a sales tax, everybody pays.
Right, and how many people would we be able to, whenever you have complexity in the system, it costs you money. Because your resources of your community and the society go to something that's not productive. So how many people do we have employed in something not productive to our society because they're all handling our taxes? I mean, they could be building computer chips, they could be building cars, they could be farming.
Well, if you ain't tax them out of moving out the country, yeah, you can do that. But manufacturing is about gone out the United States.
Yeah, we've destroyed our manufacturing in this country. Absolutely.
I mean, it is about gone.
James, continuing on the notion of taxes, you are running for a federal position.
Yes, sir.
And oftentimes the debate in the nation deals with the national center of government. All is well and good. The problem is the states tend to take a hit. The states now have become, forgive the language, sucking at the tit of the federal government. We all know that, and we're sitting here. So what's interesting, I think, because I'm a libertarian myself in philosophy, not a member of the party, I believe that what we try to do at the federal level, which is what you're alluding to tonight, which I think are good, positive things, oftentimes come down and hit the governors right in the butt. So do you have any thoughts on how that might be?
It's a good question. One of the things that happen and why the state governments is so connected to the federal system is because they get free money. They don't get free money, it gets printed and I know. To them it is. To them it is.
My taxes go up and they're claiming it's free.
To them it is.
Not just you.
Right, but to them it is. Because they don't have to do anything for it, right? They don't have to raise taxes.
They gotta raise taxes on their citizens.
They just, right, but they don't have to announce in the news that, hey, well, they do a lot of times, but it's a lot easier for them to take money and then blame it on the federal government than with the inflation and the destruction of your dollar. And it's a lot easier for them to explain it that way than also raise taxes directly. So what is really dangerous is the indirect taxes. It's not the direct taxes. The direct taxes no one's going to do. The indirect taxes, the taking over healthcare, the taking over of the energy in your house through the cap and trade, things like that.